this awkward. So I didn't. I paused the travel assistance and updated my status on the lease. At 10:56 p.m., my aunt sent a voice note. I played it twice, just to be sure I heard right. I didn't hesitate when she asked. My cousin Lily was always the kind of person who made big plans but needed quiet backup to make them real. A move to Berlin for her art program sounded exciting, ambitious even, and I was in a place where I could help. So I did. Flights, visa fees, apartment deposit, even the first 2 months' rent all covered. $6,400 in total. Not a loan. Not a favor with conditions. Just support. Because I thought that's what family did. I didn't even expect a thank you card. I just wanted to be there when she left. To say goodbye. To feel included. The farewell dinner was supposed to be small, intimate. She'd mentioned it offhand while we were on the phone going over her embassy appointment. Nothing fancy. Just immediate family and a few close friends. I figured I'd be there. She always called me her favorite cousin. I helped her with her resume. I read every grant letter she wrote. I bought her groceries during her last finals week. But at 3:42 p.m. the day before the dinner, I got a text from her mom, my Aunt Claire. Hey, just a heads up, we're keeping the dinner super tight, more of a family thing. Hope you understand. At first, I stared at the message thinking maybe I'd misread it. Then the logic hit, more of a family thing. I wasn't family enough. No call. No explanation. Just a casual exclusion wrapped in emoji. I didn't reply. Didn't ask questions. I just sat on my couch, opened my banking app, and froze the international transfer account I'd set up for her living expenses. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it because, for once, I wanted to protect my own space. For years, I believed silence was grace, but it had only erased me. Then I logged into the rental platform and removed myself from the lease agreement. She hadn't even moved in yet. At 10:56 p.m. that night, my aunt sent a voice note. I played it twice, just to be sure I heard right. Her voice was calm, oddly rehearsed. Sweetheart, we're just trying to make things simple. It's not personal. You're making this awkward. That was the word that stayed with me, awkward. Like I was crashing a party I didn't belong at. Like I was the one making a scene. So I didn't. I lay in bed that night, staring at the text from Claire like it was some kind of puzzle. Just a heads up, it's more of a family thing. It wasn't even the first time. And that's what broke me. Not the text. Not the dinner. Not even the money. It was the realization that this had been happening for years. Over and over. Different scenes, same story. I just hadn't named it before. I remembered Lily's graduation, when I paid for the catering and the photographer because she deserves something special. They didn't save me a seat that day either. I stood in the back with the staff, holding a plate I paid for. I remembered Christmas, when I drove 5 hours through a snowstorm to bring gifts for everyone, and ended up eating alone in the den because we're already squeezed at the main table. I remembered my aunt's birthday party. I'd paid for the whole thing, including the open bar her friends wouldn't shut up about. Claire toasted to those who always show up, and somehow I wasn't one of them. The receipts weren't the point. It was what came after. Always the same. I gave, they took. I helped, they forgot. I stayed silent. They mistook it for consent. They appreciated the help, but never paused to see the person behind it. Access. A card that cleared. A contact that answered. I wasn't family. I was funding. The pattern hit like a cold slap. Every time I showed up, they showed me out. Not with words. With omissions. With fake gratitude. With phrases like, "We didn't think you'd mind. You're so good at letting things go. You're the reliable one." That last one, the worst. Reliable. A word that sounds like respect but tastes like obligation. That night, I sat at my desk and pulled up my inbox. I searched for Lily and scrolled back through the last 6 months. 47 emails. Flight confirmations. Deposits. Lease co-signature forms. Visa appointment checklists. Amazon receipts for outlet adapters and allergy meds and overpriced suitcases. 47 examples of me showing up. Not one, thank you. I opened a spreadsheet. Started documenting everything. Not out of spite. Out of clarity. I needed to see just how far I'd let this go. By 3 a.m., I had every cent, every favor, every silence, all in rows and columns. Cold. Verified. Unpaid. Somewhere between line 31 and 32, it hit me. I'm not her cousin. I'm her donor. A ghost with a bank account. And ghosts don't get invited to dinner. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. But I remembered. All of it. I remembered Lily saying once, "I don't know how I'd survive without you." Now I did. She never planned to. She just assumed she wouldn't have to. At 7:12 a.m. the next morning, I sat at my desk, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, staring at my banking app. The $6,400 was still pending on Lily's end. I tapped cancel transfer. No notification was sent to her. It would just bounce back in a few days like a technical glitch. Let her call the bank. Next, the lease. She begged me to be the second signer. Her credit wasn't strong enough to land the Berlin apartment solo. I'd agreed. Quietly. Thoughtfully. Stupidly. Now I was done. I logged into the housing portal, selected Remove Co-Signatory, and uploaded a notarized affidavit rescinding financial liability. I attached a copy of our last email thread, where she mentioned the lease was temporary until she got her stipend. Let her explain that to the agency. I didn't want her to fail. I just couldn't keep enabling a system that left me out. Saying no wasn't vengeance, it was self-respect, long overdue. Then came the fun part, infrastructure. Lily had used my Cloud Doc plan for all her move-related documentation, embassy scans, student forms, even her new ID. I was the admin. She never asked why the bill didn't hit her card. I logged in, paused her access, moved all files into a private folder labeled pending. Not deleted, just inaccessible. Then I switched to our shared Dropbox. That one held her art portfolio. The one she sent to her scholarship committee. The one I formatted, edited, organized, while she bragged that she didn't believe in digital systems. Removed her login. Changed the password. She'd see it as a glitch at first. Maybe even call me for help. That made me laugh. Not a joyful laugh. The kind you let out when you realize the magicians had never had a rabbit in it. Just IOUs. Then the software license. Adobe Creative Suite, my business account. She'd been using it for free for 2 years. I deactivated her seat. One click. She'd now manage her tools independently. Then came the travel card. The one I'd set up for her, emergency use only. She used it for Ubers, food deliveries, even a 2-night hotel stay in Amsterdam with a friend she never introduced. I'd seen the receipts. I just never said anything. I called the card company. Cancel supplementary user. Effective immediately. I didn't leave a balance. I didn't make a scene. Just shut the door. Finally, the email. She had a Gmail alias I helped her create, one tied to my Google Workspace. That one was brutal. I knew it had cut the deepest. I revoked it. Instantly, the email address tied to her university registration, scholarship account, and residency visa was disabled. She'd realize it soon enough. It wasn't personal. It was clarity. It was accuracy. That line stayed with me. I had spent so much time helping others that I forgot to check in with myself. What did I need? What was fair to me? I made a checklist. Everything she accessed, everything I funded, everything I maintained systematically severed. This wasn't emotional. This was resetting shared resources. By noon, the only thing she had left was the luggage I helped her pick and the memory of a cousin who used to say yes. I didn't post anything online. Didn't text her back. I knew what was coming. The calls. The chaos. The stories. But I wasn't afraid of the fallout anymore. I was afraid of what I'd become if I didn't take action. At 2:24 p.m., I got the first text from Claire. Something's wrong with Lily's university login. Can you fix it? I didn't reply. At 3:47 p.m., Lily herself finally texted. Hey, my lease doc says it's been changed. Did you touch it? I didn't reply. At 4:15 p.m., Claire again. You're being petty. This is childish. She's your cousin. Still nothing. By 6:30 p.m., I had 3 missed calls from Lily, from my aunt, and one from a number I didn't recognize, probably a friend of hers trying to act as mediator. Didn't matter. I'd built the system. They'd accessed it without respect. Now I was revoking access I had granted. One of my favorite lines in business is, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And I was done being sold. At 9:02 p.m., I got a voice note. Claire again. This time no emojis. No fake warmth. Just clipped, rehearsed rage. I hope you understand the damage you've done. Lily is devastated. You made her feel abandoned at a time when she needed support. Family doesn't do this. I played it twice. Once to hear her words. Once to hear the absence of a single one. Thank you. Never once did she mention the money. The support. The spreadsheets. The sacrifices. Just feelings, the ones they weaponized when the system stopped serving them. So I archived the voice note and opened a new document. Title. They never said thank you. I knew that keeping a record wouldn't change the past. But it helped me see the pattern I'd ignored, the one where love had conditions, but gratitude didn't exist. Entry 1, $6,400. Entry 2, my silence. Entry 3, her seat at that dinner. I was no longer invited. Now they weren't either, not to my life, not to my labor, and not to the system they mistook for inheritance. By the time evening rolled in, my phone looked like a battlefield. 21 notifications stacked with missed calls, voicemails, texts, and escalation. It began quietly. Claire in the group chat. He's ignoring us. This is so unnecessary. Lily sent a gif of a weeping puppy. A silent plea. A weapon. I left them on read. They were fishing for a reaction, any reaction. None came. At 8:47 p.m., a call from an unknown number, a private investigator Lily hired to get my line reinstated. I let it ring out. For rings, then silence. At 9:15 p.m., Lily's friend, someone I barely knew, texted. She's emotionally overwhelmed. I typed nothing. Mom called. Voice trembled. Why are you doing this? You're making things worse. We just want to talk. I hit ignore. I was done negotiating with a mob. Then came the group email. Subject line, urgent family discussion. Hours of drama condensed into paragraphs of accusation. Bullet points like, violation of trust. You adjusted all shared access points accordingly. The situation caused emotional discomfort. Lily is traumatized. Demand, reinstate all accounts by tomorrow 9 a.m. or we escalate. I opened the email, read through the guilt-laden rhetoric. We saved your half when you lost your job in 2019. You benefited from our generosity before. We just want what's fair. They positioned themselves as victims. Family denied. Fairness demanded. And the subtext was clear, compensation for emotional injury. I crafted a silent reply, archived. Nothing more. Late that night, 2 separate calls from Lily's lawyer. They wanted to discuss damages. Emotional distress. Loss of scholarship due to lost access. A lump sum. Their lawyer used formal language. This action has had serious ramifications. We received a formal request to discuss the matter to restore Ms. Thompson's rights and recover damages. I didn't return the calls. I couldn't. This was no longer a family dispute. It had escalated to a calculated confrontation. Their request wasn't for reconciliation, it was for reimbursement. At 11:03 p.m., my mom texted. He used to babysit for free. Take him back. Lily. This is tearing us apart. I read it. I stared at it. Then I locked my phone. I knew their next step, emotional leverage. My old roles, the dependable helper, the fixer, were being weaponized to pull me back. Their escalation path. Guilt trip. Remember 2019? Emotional manipulation. Lily is traumatized. Legal pressure. We were informed legal options were being considered. Family ostracism. Group chat threats. Private investigator. Lawyer convo. It was a tactic. A pattern. Exactly the pattern I'd identified in part 2. No pangs of guilt. No pressure to apologize. No rationalizing. Because I realized nothing I had backtracked would restore the balance. Money? Infrastructure? Access? Those were gone. The only thing left on the table was agency, and that belonged solely to me. I remembered how they framed my generosity as lender status. I remembered them weaving my silence into consent. Now they were forging silence into weaponry. That's power. But I didn't let them weaponize me back. At midnight, I drafted a statement in my head. Short. Fact-based. I supported Lily. That support has ended. No legal action warranted. I removed privileges granted at my discretion. Then I deleted it. No post. No text. No statement. Silence was my boundary. At 1 a.m., a final push, a flood of texts marked urgent from extended relatives I rarely talked to. My cousin's roommate even texted. We feel so sorry. Are you okay? It felt performative. Sympathy is surveillance. I didn't reply. By 2 a.m., I was awake, sipping the last of the coffee, reviewing the events of the day. The infrastructure was clear, servers revoked, card canceled, lease removed, documents locked. Emotionally, I was unshaken. I wasn't angry. I wasn't broken. I was resolved. And I watched them roar. There were no sirens. No arrests. No fireworks. Just a tidal wave of accusations and heartbreak signals, all emanating from me refusing to reply. At 3 a.m., I set my phone to do not disturb. The night was mine. I fell into a heavy sleep. They brought noise, but I offered none. That silence would speak volumes tomorrow. I always believed truth held weight. Not because it shouts, but because it doesn't yield. I didn't plan to go public. Not yet. After I froze the funds, removed the lease, revoked access, I thought silence would settle the storm. I could disappear. End this without a spectacle. But then Lily's lawyer messaged Claire's side arguing my actions were malicious, premeditated sabotage of a young woman's dream. Claire told relatives I had ruined her daughter's future out of spite. The story was being rewritten. They were rewriting it, and they expected me to sit there and let them. Silence felt comfortable. It felt safe. But I realized it had become dangerous. It was enabling them to drown out facts with emotion, spin kindness into cruelty, generosity into selfishness. If I didn't speak, the narrative would be taken. So I chose to speak. Not to shout, not to rage, but to stand and be seen once. At 8:03 a.m., I opened my laptop, fingertips cold. I pulled every record, wire transfers, booking confirmations, billing statements. $3,200 to the landlord in Berlin, worded with Lily's name. Airline ticket purchase logged under my card. Adobe Creative Cloud invoice listing 3 seats, 1 tag to Lily's email. Dropbox logs timestamping my removal of Thompson.art folder. Cloud Doc admin page showing transfer and then withdrawal of permission. Then the text, yesterday afternoon, Claire's words, it's more of a family thing. Screen cap. Timestamp. No emojis. 30 minutes later, I had 8 screenshots cleanly cropped, anonymized where needed, critical where it mattered. By 9:12 a.m., I had a folder titled The Receipts. No context. No editorial. No preamble. Just the items that mattered. At 10:34 a.m., I logged into the platform where family was staging emotional theater. I typed. For transparency, I funded my cousin's relocation, flights, visa fees, deposit, essential housing costs. Total, $6,400. I was removed from her farewell dinner via a text reading, it's more of a family thing. In response, I froze the funds, revoked shared services, and stepped back. I share this for clarity, not drama. Below, I uploaded the screenshots with captions. Berlin apartment deposit, $3,200, paid April 15th, 11:22 a.m. One-way flight, billed to my card. Adobe seat assignment, enterprise billing. Dropbox access revoked, April 17th, 9:03 p.m. Cloud Doc admin removal, April 17th, 9:05 p.m. Text from Claire, it's more of a family thing. No more. I hit post. Closed the app, bundled into my bag, and left the apartment. I didn't wait for replies. I didn't seek reassurance. I just moved. By 11:08 a.m., it was spreading. Quiet shares. Subtle likes. Comments from people I barely knew. Finally, the truth. I was confused all along. This explains everything. Someone messaged, you weren't invisible. You were erased. This was overdue. Messages came flooding and cousins reaching out, coworkers offering support, acquaintances saying they always wondered why you were left out. One friend messaged privately, they've been gaslighting you for years. Glad you spoke. At 12:42 p.m., Lily texted, why are you doing this? You're making it worse for me. I didn't reply. Because if she's upset, it's not about me. It's about them. Someone else commented, they turned generosity into guilt. You flipped the script. At 2:17 p.m., a mutual friend wrote publicly, truth is louder than tears. The tone was changing. Then an unexpected confirmation, at 3 p.m., an email from Lily's scholarship committee. Due to discrepancies in third-party sponsorship documentation, housing approval is under review pending verification. They'd seen the receipts. They were investigating. At 4:28 p.m., my phone rang with Claire's number. I let it ring. Went to voicemail. She said, you humiliated us. You broke her trust. This wasn't the way. I listened, twice. It was almost calm, no weeping. Just accusation. Then I deleted it. I opened the group chat. No tears. No pleas. Just silence. An absence of noise that felt loud. Then a message from my uncle. You did what silence could never do, expose the pattern. That's all I needed. No apology. No justifications. No counterpost. I didn't comment. I didn't clarify. I didn't defend. The screenshots and captions spoke for themselves. The financial messenger did the heavy lifting. The text told the rest. They had tried to drown me out. With drama. With tears. With legal threats. With emotional ambush. Now they were the ones silenced. At 7:10 p.m. the phone buzzed. One text. We need to talk. From Lily. No context. I left it unread. By 8:54 p.m., the storm died. No more voicemails. No more urgent texts. No group chat explosions. Just a quiet evening punctuated by the truth. The moment the platform made silence visible, I didn't wake up proud. Didn't wake up angry. I woke up freed. Freed from being the silent infrastructure. Freed from the expectation to excuse or explain. I woke up made visible. I shared facts to bring clarity. And the echo of truth will never fade. They didn't call for a week. No texts. No voicemails. No rage-fueled voice notes from Claire in the middle of the night. For a moment, it felt like peace. But I knew better. Silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. And sure enough, it came. Saturday morning, 9:12 a.m. A message from Lily. Can we talk before I leave? Not, I'm sorry. Not, you were right. Just a polite invitation, as if nothing happened, as if what I did was an overreaction, not a final decision. I didn't respond right away. I thought about it, not for her, but for myself. I agreed to meet. Neutral location. Public. Her choice, a cafe downtown. I arrived on time. She was already there, oversized white sweater, half-packed suitcase beside her chair, face blank. She didn't stand when I approached, didn't smile, just looked up and said, "This got out of hand. I didn't mean for it to go this far." It wasn't an apology. It was a press release. A reframing, where the real problem wasn't what they did, but how I reacted. She kept going. Spoke about family pressure. About how everyone thought you were okay with it. About how I was always the strong one. About how they assumed helping made you happy. She said all of it like she believed it would explain everything, like acknowledgement was a substitute for accountability. In that moment, I realized she wasn't a villain. I wasn't a victim. We were just stuck in a story where I played the helper too well and forgot to write myself in. I didn't interrupt. I just listened. Because this conversation wasn't for her. It was for me. When she finished, I said, "I didn't walk away over money. I walked away because you never saw me." She went quiet. I kept going. "You saw the support, the transfers, the help, but never the person giving it. And when I stopped, you didn't ask why, you called it betrayal." My voice didn't rise. I didn't flinch. Every word was measured, final. Not for impact. For clarity. She swallowed. Looked down at her coffee. "So what now?" she asked. "Are we just done?" I nodded. "We were done the moment you wrote. It's more of a family thing." Admit it. She didn't cry. Didn't plead. Just looked smaller somehow. Not crushed, just finally aware of what was gone. I stood. Pushed in my chair. "Have a good trip." Then I walked out. Didn't look back. It wasn't about winning. It was about setting a boundary. The control ended not when I canceled the funds, not when I shared clarification for transparency, but right here, in this quiet goodbye. They no longer had access, not just to systems, but to the support I once offered. "Oops, you're out of the guest list," my sister said in a voicemail while 72 guests toasted at my parents' $17,000 party, fully funded by me. I got no